So, here's the real story. What should have been a heartwarming birthday bash for little Lilibet spiraled into a full-blown media meltdown for Harry and Meghan. And guess what triggered it? Disneyland of all places. Yep, the so-called happiest place on earth just exposed how chaotic the Sussex strategy has become. Picture this, June 4th, blazing California sun, Lily's birthday. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle casually waltz into Disneyland with Archie and Lily. Sounds picture-perfect, right? But this wasn't just a family day. Not by a mile. This was something way bigger and way messier. The moment those grainy paparazzi-style shots hit the internet, it was obvious. This wasn't some random candid. This was staged to perfection. And let's be honest, for a couple who constantly preaches about wanting privacy, they sure have a knack for showing up in the most public, paparazzi-swarmed spot in the country. Disneyland? That place is a surveillance circus. Cameras everywhere. And yet, Harry and Meghan didn't sneak in quietly. No back entrance, no private tour. They strutted in center stage, exactly where every lens could and would spot them. And spot them they did. Within hours, major news outlets plastered the photos across their front pages. "Charming family day out," the headlines cooed. But scroll down, and suddenly Archie and Lilibet's faces were blurred. That's when the confusion exploded. Same script, different day. Dangle the kids for a dose of soft press, then blur their faces to claim moral high ground. And this time, people weren't fooled. The backlash was instant and brutal. No one roasted the hypocrisy louder than Piers Morgan. He didn't even mention their names outright, but come on. We all knew exactly who he was talking about. He slammed celebrities who flashed their kids online for parenting clout, only to blur their faces like classified intel. "We see you," he wrote. And just like that, the internet detonated.
Multi-millionaire who's raked in a fortune by regularly abusing his family and regurgitating private stories in books and TV shows while simultaneously lecturing the rest of us about not invading privacy.
That single comment, it shattered the entire fairy tale facade. What looked like a harmless family outing suddenly turned into a media landmine, and it went off everywhere. People started asking what should have been obvious. Why Disneyland? Why now? And if you're so dead set on protecting your kids' privacy, why drag them through one of the most hyper-photographed places on the planet? But it wasn't just the public side eyeing this circus. Even insiders at Disneyland started talking. According to reports, the couple's entourage wasn't just noticeable, it was blatantly visible, practically on display. And strangely enough, key areas of the park were swarming with photographers who just happened to be standing in all the right places at all the right times. Coincidence? Yeah, nobody's buying that fairy tale. It felt like a live-action Netflix trailer, unfolding in real time. The polished frames, the flattering angles, the candid moments that just happened to look editorial. And that's when the internet turned. This wasn't just awkward. It was orchestrated manipulation. Because let's be honest, Harry and Meghan don't make a move without a strategy anymore. Their public appearances are rare, yes, but when they show up, they're cinematic, intentional, and meticulously branded. And this one, it reeked of damage control. Meghan's podcast numbers were tanking. Her lifestyle venture was flatlining. So what better way to shift the narrative than a sweet, media-friendly Disney day with the kids? Cute, clickable, and perfectly timed. Only this time, it blew up in their faces. Instead of warming hearts, it lit a fuse. Even loyal fans were baffled. The contradictions were just too bold. You can't file lawsuits over privacy invasion one week, then orchestrate a Disneyland photo op the next. People aren't fools. They're just done. And you know who else is done? Prince William. And behind the scenes, he's not hiding it anymore. Word on the street is Prince William has officially had enough of this circus. It's not just about the embarrassment to the monarchy. It's about how this drama keeps dragging their family's name through the mud. And trust me, there's a whole other storm brewing behind the scenes. But before we dive into that, let's not forget the legal mess, the media chaos, and the pressure cooker that's closing in on the Sussexes from all sides. Because this time, the masks are slipping. People are finally seeing the act for what it really is. Piers Morgan wasn't the only one seeing through the smoke and mirrors. Social media exploded the second those Disneyland photos dropped. One popular post read, "If you want privacy, maybe don't stage a photo shoot at Disneyland," racking up thousands of likes in minutes. Another commenter called it Kardashian Corpse PR with a royal twist. Even some longtime Sussex supporters found it impossible to defend. And it wasn't just the location or the blurred faces, it was the timing. Royal insiders reveal that the Disneyland stunt came just days before Trooping the Color, a major royal event honoring King Charles. Coincidence? Maybe. But to the palace, it felt like sabotage. Sources close to the king say the whole thing was a deliberate distraction to steal the spotlight, and worse, to use Lilibet's royal name as bait. Here's where it gets really messy. Lilibet isn't just any name. It's deeply tied to Queen Elizabeth II. Using that name in a staged photo op at a theme park while simultaneously trashing the monarchy in interviews and lawsuits, that struck a nerve, especially with King Charles. Royal insiders say the king didn't just disapprove, he was furious. One aide described his mood as deeply embarrassed by the optics. After all, Meghan and Harry never even asked for permission to use the name. Buckingham Palace had publicly corrected the narrative when Lilibet's name was first announced. Yet here they were, spinning their own version again, this time using the Queen's nickname as a branding tool. And that's not even touching the legal fireworks still waiting to explode. Meghan and Harry, insiders say, are now threatening to sue Piers Morgan over his relentless, savage digs. This isn't new territory. Remember when Meghan tried to silence him after he refused to back her explosive Oprah claims? That showdown ended with Morgan's fiery exit from Good Morning Britain. But here's the thing. Morgan doesn't back down. He sees right through their playbook, emotional blackmail wrapped in victim theatrics. This time, it could get even nastier. Morgan's reach is bigger than ever, and he's got the receipts to prove it. He's already weathered their smear campaigns, and now he's zeroing in on the glaring contradictions, calling out their curated parenting, the barrage of lawsuit threats, and their masterclass in selective transparency. And guess what? His brutal commentary is catching fire, not just because it's sharp, but because it's dead-on accurate. Meanwhile, back in California, Meghan's podcast Confessions of a Female Founder quietly crashed and burned. Despite heavy promotion through her flashy new brand, American Riviera Orchard, the numbers are brutal. Low downloads, dismal engagement. The Disneyland stunt? Many insiders believe it was a desperate, last-ditch ploy to shove attention back onto her flailing brand. But instead of softening her image, it blew up in their faces. The story became crystal clear. When the projects tank, out come the kids, and the same overproduced family photos hit the feeds. It's a tired cycle people are starting to spot and resent. Meanwhile, word is Prince William is quietly spearheading talks about finally putting an end to this circus once and for all. The calls to strip Meghan and Harry of their remaining royal titles are no longer just gossip or tabloid fodder. Royal insiders reveal that Prince William has officially hit his limit. The constant performative stunts, the blurred-out kid photos used as smokescreens, the relentless public dragging of the crown, it's all become unbearable, and he's not alone. Senior royals, once hesitant to escalate the feud, are now seriously weighing legal and institutional moves to cut all official ties with the Sussexes permanently. The Disneyland stunt? That might just be the final straw, because even Buckingham Palace is done playing nice. The fallout from that Disneyland drama didn't just fizzle out with headlines and memes. It shattered the public's trust, flipping the script on Harry and Meghan's narrative. What once seemed like a couple breaking free from toxic royal traditions now looks like a ruthless marketing machine clinging desperately to the last sparks of royal relevance. People are starting to ask, bluntly, what do they even stand for anymore? The Netflix deal, the Spotify fallout, the podcast that died quietly, the brand launch that barely made a splash, it all paints a clear picture. Two people who wildly overestimated their influence once cut loose from the royal engine, and now, as their spotlight dims, they fall back on the same tired playbook, stage a perfectly framed family moment, blur the faces they want hidden, and let the media spin it. But this time, the script bombed. Even major outlets like Daily Mail, TMZ, and Entertainment Tonight ran the same photos with a tone that was skeptical, critical, and worst of all, utterly bored. The whole "we just want privacy" act crumbled under the weight of staged lighting and perfectly timed, candid shots. King Charles, already walking a tightrope between public image and family loyalty, was reportedly blindsided. One insider described his mood as a mix of deep sadness and quiet rage, not just because it was another PR disaster dragging the royal name through the mud, but because Lilibet's name, tied to his mother's legacy, was exploited like a cheap social media caption. Whispers inside the palace say legal moves are being quietly explored to strip the Sussex kids of their HR titles. This isn't about punishing children. It's about drawing a hard line. If the royal brand is going to be weaponized as clickbait for Netflix promos or podcast plugs, the monarchy has to take a stand. Prince William's frustration? According to insiders, it's reached a boiling point. He's done. Don't miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We're just getting started, and trust me, this royal drama is far from over. Stay tuned.